And a good evening to you, rugby fans. Welcome to Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex. National Collegiate Rugby brings you Friday Night Rugby. This week, a Big Ten matchup between the Wisconsin Badgers and the Boilermakers of Purdue. I am John Broker, joined by Thomas Wheels Grant for this exciting game. Wheels, what an evening we have in our hands.
Wow, what an evening indeed, Johnny. You can see the wonderful drone shots there by the Next Level Rugby crew. This is a fantastic facility for rugby. Previously hosted the Club Sevens Nationals, but I'm really excited for this one. Purdue versus Wisconsin. It's going to be an absolute clash.
Great facility, certainly a lot to see. See Wisconsin warming up, a big win over University of Minnesota last week. 77-7 against a rival in every sport that they have. They're going to be looking to get a run in. They are upperclassmen heavy, returning a lot of players, really looking strong. The Boilermakers have come to Wisconsin. They have made this trip. They are ready to play. They played a couple of tough games against Aquinas, one of the big programs out there during a preseason. They're ready to get started against this Wisconsin team. Purdue is on it. They are ready to go. They have made the trip. Let's talk about a few players on this Purdue team. Wheels, what do we have?
Yeah, you can see there on screen the number 3, the man packing down the scrum, John Zeng. He is a relatively raw prop to the game of rugby union, but his head coach has given him plenty of reps and looks to get through a mountain of work. So a really good young prospect for this Boilermakers side, and expect some big tackles. And that man in the 15 jersey, John Custra, he has the captain's armband on today. He is also the president of the club, but most importantly tonight, he has to control the game from the backfield. He is an elusive number 15 who knows how to diffuse situations. And that man there, number 12, Sean O'Donnell, a really rangy and crafty number 12 in the midfield, really good with his distribution abilities and likes to put his lads in a lot of space out wide, Johnny.
Wisconsin also bringing it right here. You take a look at Mason Butner right there. One of the seniors in this team, played 10 last year, has moved into 9, taking the scrum half spot. Wisconsin native. He's really going to have a big game, a big time this year running the show. Keep an eye on Mason Butner. Keep an eye on him breaking from the bottom there. Now we look at big number 5, Jackson Trotter. Trotter, one of the big second rows on this Wisconsin team. Big ball carrier, captain, is very excited about him. Titus Henkel's the captain. Thinks Trotter is one of the big keys to this team going forward. Beautiful shot of this facility as we take a look at Purdue. Wheels.
Yeah, well, on the front row, that man we mentioned, Zeng, will pack down the big 3 with Eckstein and Whitekin in the front row. Sebastian and Samad in the locking department. Murphy, Ryan and Blaise in the loose forward trio. And over to the backs for the Boilermakers. It's the 9-10 combination of Isaac Fueling and Luca McAllister looking to drive the game in those pivot roles. The midfield of O'Donnell and Murphy looking to craft up through the centre of the pitch. And the back 3, Kalasi, Aguirre and Custra, the captain, will be absolutely immense.
And for the hometown Wisconsin Badgers, you have Owen Clovis, Oliver Held, Bryce Quinton in that front row. Joel Swatsky, and Jackson Trotter holding it down in the second. Captain Titus Henkels with Declan Smith, Emilio DePalm at the number 8, keeping this team moving forward. In the backs, we talked about Butner, but Bell is sliding in at 10. That is Carter Bell, played in the centers. Now he is there. Joe Venner, Joseph Koch are at 12 and 13. Callum Jones, Eric Harris in the wings. Victor Vasconcelos down at number 15. Great lineup here, as we said. Upperclassmen heavy for this Wisconsin Badgers team. We take a look at the coaches here. Purdue, headed up by that man right there, Steve Nicholson. Assisting him are Katie Waldecker, Gage Poland, and Dave Kahaina. Wisconsin coaching staff led by this man right here, Curtis Shepard, assisted by Eric Blodorn and Adam Thimmig, really keeping this hometown Wisconsin team going. What coaching staff for both teams? There is your referee for this evening. It's going to be Jake Winkler. It's going to be Alec Proshniak, Jed Thompson. The assistant referees, Brad Cassetta, is going to be the number 4, and we are ready to get underway here as our number 10 from Wisconsin kicks off. That is Carter Bell. Wisconsin in the red and white, running from left to right on your screen. Boilermakers in black and gold. Ball in hand right now for the Boilermakers. Boilermakers on the move. Boilermakers. Ball across the 22. Lose a little ground there. We'll see what this defense looks like, Wheels, but we are underway in this Big Ten matchup, National Collegiate Rugby. Everything to play for. Big win last week, a tough contest for the Boilermakers. Both these teams are ready to play as we see Jake Murphy take that one in. Murphy, the first-year player of Mishawaka, Indiana, gets taken into touch eventually. The first line out here will come to the Badgers. Wheels, good start for both these teams, a lot of aggression.
Yeah, for sure. That's just what you want to see from the Boilermakers, looking to play some enterprising footy in the opening minute, but great defense there from the Badgers, just diffusing that early onslaught from Purdue. Looking forward to this first set-piece strike here from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin to put this one in. It's Oliver Held, a junior from West Hartford, Connecticut. Wait for the Blackhearts out there. Ball into the middle of the field. Good run coming there from that big number 12. We talked about Joe Venner. Ball now, big tackle coming in. Declan Smith takes it to ground. They're going to work this short side of the field. Are the Badgers? Big break coming in right there. They can score. That one doesn't go to hand. Slips away for Vasconcelos. Going to be turned over there and knock on against the Badgers. So first scrum of the game here for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, really crafty stuff there from the Badgers. We'll see here on the replay, the number 9 Butner got the pass away to Bell, who threw that lovely decoy pass. It was the centre, actually, Coke, who got it off to his winger, and it was just that last drawn pass that didn't quite go to hand. Slipped out of the hands there of Vasconcelos. So the Badgers
like the distance?
Pretty good on attack.
Everybody good? Crouch. Bind.
Isaac fueling.
Set
to put this one in for the Boilermakers. Fueling, senior from Decatur, Indiana. Gets that ball in, scores to the back quick. They're underway, but they're at their own line. A lot of pressure going on there. Sean O'Donnell has to hoof that one away. We'll see what kind of distance he gets here.
No, it's not. It's Reds.
Again, it's a beautiful night for rugby, Johnny. I have a real feeling we're going to see some nice free-flowing tries here in this game.
We should do, and it is a second line, of the game here. Goes up, and Jackson Trotter takes that one down. Ball doesn't quite go where they want it to in the midfield. Do the Badgers. Picked up there by Carter Bell. Bell moving the centers into that 10 position, as we said. Up to big Owen Clovis, a sophomore mechanical engineering major. Clovis takes that one in. Off they go, little pass back inside. Good idea to Quinton, but he's well marshaled by that Boilermakers defense. Off to this side they come. Ball again into the hands of Carter Bell. Bell takes it in himself. Quickly they go. Butner looking for runners. Gets it to number 8 there. Good little move by DePalm. Emilio DePalm gets through a couple. Waiting pot of forwards. Trotter. Butner, a little wider this time. Looking for some runners. Can't quite get it. Boilermakers defense holding strong. Off it comes. Another run. Just straight in that time. Butner comes across again. Got runners spread across the field. Do the Wisconsin Badgers. They can get this one through. Player make it in there and rip that away. Referee right on the spot. Referee Winkler says it. Good work there by the Boilermakers to really force that issue and get the turnover wheels.
Yeah, fantastic way to diffuse the situation there by the Boilermakers, but have to credit the Badgers' patience on attack there. Just unfortunately a little bit isolated around that breakdown on that occasion, but that's really promising signs there from Wisconsin as this one has found touch, has it? And it stayed in the field of play, John.
Not found touch. Trying to keep it in there was number 14, Eric Harris. His jersey is blank.
Steel's good. It's forward off it's forward off red at the sideline here.
And that was credit there to Purdue. Came and took that one over. There's a knock on there eventually as we take another look at it here, Wheels.
Yeah, well, I thought about maybe needing prescription glasses there. I thought that had gone out into touch, but he did a fantastic job to keep it in initially, but unfortunately it drifted forward back on the tap-in. So great chase by the Boilermakers to get right on the ball, and they've got this scrum and a fantastic attacking opportunity here.
Yeah, good work by Aguirre there.
Crouch. Bind.
First-year player out of James Madison High School. Ball in again from Fueling. Pressure coming on from the Badgers. Referee Winkler going to bring this one up.
We're just going to reload.
Reset the scrum here. Referee Winkler looking for a little safety. It will again be Boilermakers ball.
Always love the opening scrum exchanges of a collegiate rugby game. This is where these boys cut their teeth, the dark arts they call it, Johnny, which I'm sure you're all familiar with being a high school rugby coach.
We don't teach them, you know, the dark arts as would be, but ball comes back there for the Boilermakers.
Fellas, he's popping out. It's dangerous, so I can't play on from that. Look over here. So just reload it, fellas. You're good.
Referee talking to the players there. Want some good, clean play and parity and safety, particularly in these scrummages. But you can see early here, Wheels, the Badgers getting a little bit more of a squeeze on.
Yeah, just a little bit of pre-engagement there from Wisconsin. So the referee, no doubt in the pre-game talk, talked about his standard at scrum time. It's becoming a huge part of rugby union these days. So we want good, clean, quick ball for our number 9s.
Break foot. Thank you.
Fueling again. You see the power coming in from Wisconsin, but they're going to get this one away. Certainly do. McAllister with 10 moves it out. Ball going a little wider here, looking off the first phase. A little slip pass. Doesn't quite get through. That's Borica Lacey takes the ground. The Badgers trying to get over that one. Good attacking options here for the Boilermakers. Spills in behind. Winds up in Theo Simard's hands. Simard gets to the ground safely. They've lost some ground, have the Boilermakers, but they have ball in hand, so we'll see where they decide to go with this one. Off to the right-hand side. Going to have a run, looking for some space. Nearly finds it. Gets the offload away. Nice work there. That was Sean O'Donnell, the number 12, with that final move before he gets it up in the hands of Beck Sebastian. They're at the 22. Good work here from the Boilermakers. Brendan Ryan met well by the Badgers defense. All the way again from Fueling. McAllister gets it out there. Hard runner number 8, Stephen Blaise. Blaise takes on a runner. Have not gained ground, this Boilermakers team, but have maintained possession. Off on his own goes Isaac Fueling. Coming in is Beck Sebastian, has to step in that first receiver position. Not a bad pass right there to Benjamin Whitekin. Pressure coming on from the Badgers, and they've turned this one over. Wisconsin looking to go quick. Ball in the hands of Butner. Butner sees some space, puts it out to that right-hand side. Butner gets it into the hands of Titus Henkels, the skipper. Captain for this team, tight pod there. Working their way through. That's Bryce Quinton. Ball spills to the ground. Referee says it's all good. Let's play. Actually said knock-on advantage there for the Badgers, but that'll be over with this as the kick goes away and goes to hand. Well handled there by the Boilermakers. Now they turn it over. We're going to come back to a penalty against Wisconsin. Didn't see what the hand motion was for. Wheels.
Yeah, well, one thing's for sure is that you cannot take your eyes off the screen in this game so far. Both teams looking to keep the ball alive with some fantastic offloading ability, and the Boilermakers look like they're going to put this one deep into the 22 of the Badgers, and although gives a bit of a left wedge, a bit like my golf game.
Sean O'Donnell that was, put with out the senior from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Doylestown, a long-time hotbed of high school rugby. Producing good players nationwide. It's going to be a line here to the Purdue Boilermakers. See John Zhang standing off that one. Ball in this time, sails over the top. Comes down to the Badgers. Oliver held right onto that ball. A little high, a little wide. Ball's bouncing here for the Badgers outside of the 22. A couple of looping passes from both teams right there. Taking advantage of is the Boilermakers. Boilermakers on the move there. They get that ball to Blaise. Blaise has to take it into contact, but well recycled. Put some numbers in there as Fueling moves it away. Back outside the 22, sending some runners. And that's Theo Simard. Fueling. Off to the right. Do they have runners wide enough to go? Nice little pass from O'Donnell. Held up, looking to come back in. Gets the ball away into the hands of Aguirre. He put in a great run to put the pressure on that ball earlier. That wound up in a scrum for them, but they're going to bring it back out. Haven't again made ground. Both teams going through some phases here, not making much territory with it. Ball back to Fueling. Fueling looks a little deep there for McAllister. Across they come, get the ball to Zhang, but he spills it. And it went forward, so Zhang, the junior from Sunnyvale, California, went to Pendleton Heights High School, knocks that one on. Another scrum for the Badgers.
Yeah, again, that one, see here on the replay, they look to shift it to the edge again, which the Boilermakers have been pretty persistent. And that one, he just overran it a little bit, did John Zeng, and just caught it behind, which unfortunately forced him to lose control of it. So it'll be the Badgers back in possession, and no points yet in this game, but you just get the feeling it's not far away.
Yeah, just a couple of miscued passes there. Didn't quite go to hand. Both teams clearly have the runners out wide and the ability.
Crouch.
This one will be the Badgers' opportunity. Butner from Mount Horeb High School in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. As that scrum goes down, referee is going to come around the other side.
What happened?
What are you seeing, Bryce? Anything you need to mention?
He was super high, like a tighter for 2 seconds.
Referee conferring with Bryce Quinton there. See what the senior may be seeing. He's a forwards MVP for the Badgers.
Crouch.
2023.
Bind. Set. Break foot. Thank you.
Wisconsin are going to come with this one off to the left they go. Into the hands of Bell. Bell gets it to the centers. They're looking a little wide. Now they have some space. Vasconcelos taken down just about 40 meters out, but never released the ball, according to referee Winkler. So a penalty again to the Boilermakers. The wheels on that outside. The Wisconsin Badgers absolutely have some gas.
Yeah, great platform there from the scrum, and it was really just a simple draw catch pass, and they put that number 15, Victor Vasconcelos, who seems to be an elusive runner, and just there he didn't release the ball on the ground, which gave the Boilermakers the ball back, and they have raked this one downfield into the 22. That's a much better kick than his last one, that's for sure.
Absolutely will be. They will be pleased with that. The Purdue Boilermakers, an opportunity here. Last line out didn't quite go to hand. If they can sort that out right now, they're in a great attacking position. Wisconsin putting themselves on the back foot there. Vasconcelos, just a little bit of a mistake. Twice now, he's had Eric Harris outside of him, and he's kind of taking the ball into contact himself. He's got another runner. You may want to think about that as the game goes on, as the ball goes up there. Into the hands of Beck Sebastian. Ball squirts out the back. Fueling has to take it himself. He's at touch, so the line out taken by the Boilermakers, but turned over there. It's going to be Wisconsin Badgers ball.
Yeah, great job there from the Badgers, just diffusing that more. You can see there, brought it down to number 4, Beck Sebastian, and they set up the platform nicely, but they just weren't able to get that incision really with the tight 5 coming in. So the Badgers get the ball back.
And Trotter takes it down and gets it back into the hands of Carter Bell. Bell pushes that one downfield for some more territory, so it will be another Boilermakers lineout. This time about 30 meters out from the Wisconsin line. Boilermakers, Brendan Ryan, the senior, putting this ball in, construction engineering major in the thrower role here.
We're going 5, Red. It's got to be faster next time, Black.
A little discussion here. Referee says we need to speed up these lineouts. They want people to play. They're going to look to the front, go to the back. It's going to spill over again. It's going to wind up in the hands of Held. That's his second receipt off the lineout like that as they come into the middle of the field. Where will they go, the runners, this time? They're going to set one up in the middle.
Ball's good.
Badgers have it ripped away there. Good work by Michael Murphy. Number 13 outside center for the Boilermakers takes it away. Lost lineup, but still on the attack. Ball a little deeper. Runners coming just a bit flat. Benjamin Wigton, the senior from Lombard, Illinois. Ball off to that right-hand side. A dangerous fullback coming. John Kustra.
Nothing there, 6.
Kustra takes that one in. Ball across for the Boilermakers. Boilermakers. On the move here. That's Ryan. Again, coming off to this left-hand side. Boilermakers, this time through Blaze. Fueling, looks for a runner, gets it to McAllister. McAllister, a distributor, really takes the ball sort of at a standstill there, so not getting much movement on the ball. Counting on their midfield to do that as they come across. McAllister gets it out into that midfield. Sean O'Donnell.
It's off his hands forward. Yeah.
Oh, massive kudos there to the Wisconsin Badgers and their defensive effort, particularly that line speed, just suffocating the Boilermakers inside their own half. We can see here this was the passage of play that forced the mistake, but these Wisconsin boys just getting up off the line, and Purdue are attacking with a lot of depth, but potentially just pushing that one too much when they should have taken it into contact, and the Badgers will get the ball right back in their favour and much favourable territory.
Gotta be on a jersey. 1. Set!
Badgers have been strong here in the scrum as they get the ball in from Butner. Butner to the back there. It's at the Palm's feet. He's going to take this one to Palm's, going to make some ground. Going to leave that one behind him. Not quite the offload they'd be looking for. But Sean O'Donnell drives Butner back. Right-hand side they come. Looking in the middle of the field. Good inside line there from Joseph Cope. Ball across into the hands of Carter Bell. Jackson Trotter, the Ridgefield, Connecticut native, takes that one in. Off again to Bell. Bell on the run, puts a little chip in, ball's in behind, directly into the hands of the fullback there. That's Kustra. Kustra puts one downfield for the Boilermakers. Into the hands of Vasconcelos. They're going to move this one Harris. Harris puts up an interception. We have a runner here coming. It is a battle. Probably not going to go. A forward that picked that off, so didn't quite have the legs for it. Players getting back on side there for the Badgers. Little mistake from Harris. Ball going to go back here to McAllister. Luca McAllister gets it out there to Ryan. Ball in over. Badgers coming to steal that one away. Where his hands over there? Referee's on it. Says it's all good. This is Wisconsin ball. Butner's going to go to the boot. Trying to use this territory wisely. In behind Vasconcelos this time. Vasconcelos bouncing ball, has to deal with it, tries to get that kick away, may have just dropped it. The referee says no, we're going to play on here, and here come the Badgers. Badgers from inside their 40. Referee whistles, may have been speaking with the assistant referee down there. A penalty this time against the Boilermakers. They have some runners. Butner gets the ball away. Trotter, Big Jackson Trotter gets across the 22. Butner looks for some runners. That one over the head of DePalma. DePalma by himself on this side. Shakes off one, shakes off a second. The third defender in is going to take him to ground. Players from Purdue coming in trying to blow that ball off. And penalty wisely. Players coming in from an angle. Players not keeping their feet. There was a multitude of sins in their wheels.
Yeah, there certainly was. And number 9, Mason Butner, did a great job to keep that tempo alive with that quick tap. And as you mentioned, Johnny, that penalty was for a side entry, but there were probably a number of players off feet there for Purdue. So this game is being played at some real acceleration. You can see there the number 2, Oliver Held, with hands on his knees, which I would certainly be as well. It is end-to-end rugby union at the moment.
See the Wisconsin players there after this end-to-end stuff that we've had. A little bit tired. We'll have a line out here to the Badgers. Badgers just about 7 meters out. I don't know if we've seen a maul from them yet, Wheels. If there ever was a place to do it, this would be it.
Exactly right. This is mauling territory for sure, and probably the best attacking opportunity of the game for Wisconsin. We haven't seen them within this 5 metre channel, so let's see what they've got from set piece here this close out to the line.
Ball up and in. A referee is finding the direction. Here comes the maul. They're working it to the back. A whistle comes up. Players interfering in the maul there from Wisconsin. Motioning for a scrum to the Boilermakers here.
I saw no contact at first.
Yeah, interesting. We can see here, obviously the Badgers opted for the maul, but the Boilermakers chose not to engage whatsoever. So we've got a truck and trailer there. Accident offside, so it will be back to the Boilermakers, and I think that's a great call there by the referee, Johnny.
Good call, a deed by referee Winkler. Right on the spot there. So scrum here for the Boilermakers, just about 7 meters out from their own line. Wisconsin will look to put some pressure on this one. Ball rolls off the top there, a little miscue. Big pressure you can see coming in from the Badgers. Boilermakers under pressure inside their own zone. Ball hoofed out there into the number 11's hands, Callum Jones. Callum Jones goes to the middle of the field. Vasconcelos, couple of steps there, gets the ball outside into the hands of Harris. Harris into contact this time. Last time ball in hand, he turned one over, so much better result for him. Player coming in off their feet again from the Boilermakers. Another penalty here for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, again, moving the ball to the left. It was your man Harris, as you mentioned. Looks to be a dangerous runner with ball in hand, and the infringement there, just diving off his feet. I think it was the number 14, Halbert Aguirre rather. So got to be careful around that breakdown time with those little infringements. Otherwise, the referee, particularly in this area of the field, will be looking to give that first warning.
Take a look at John Zhang there. Player we've been talking to, ball goes up to Trotter. Trotter takes that one down quick, losing a little ground there. Didn't quite get the start they wanted to tight his ankles. Butner finds Bell. Bell in the middle of the field, looking for that runner. Good line chosen there. Make a little ground. There should be some runners off to the right-hand side. Butner's going to come to Bell. They're going to get the ball to Held. Held is going to take a big hit from one of the Boilermakers defenders. We have a penalty advantage. That may have been illegal there. DePalm takes that one in. Ball across for Wisconsin, looking for their first try here. Callum Jones takes it in, but referee Winkler going to bring us back for the penalty. About 15 meters out, they're going to go quick. Butner gets it into the hands of big Bryce Quinton. Bryce Quinton gets it just outside the 5-meter line. Butner goes a little wider this time. There's outside runners. They can get it. They decided to stay in. Big hit coming. Is it a try? A ball goes down from Joe Venner. Joe Venner touches it down. Haven't heard the whistle yet. May need to confer with the assistant referee.
Yeah, I think there was enough downward pressure in that one. Joe Venner, fantastic, but again, credit to the number 9. It was Mason Butner keeping that tempo alive. He went for the quick tap again, which he's opted for on a number of penalties so far. But we'll see here, just did a great job of getting that ball out nice and quick, and there was a massive 4v1 overlap, but it was the number 12 who decided to split the gap and help himself to the first try of the game. Yeah, we can see there fantastic slow motion replays. I think there's enough downward pressure on that one. Johnny Broker for the referee team to confirm.
Should be indeed, and they will. So it's going to be 5-0 for the hometown Badgers. Badgers looking to convert this one, and it comes off the post. Can't get any closer than that, but it will remain at 5-0. And Wheels, after a tremendous back and forth so far, Wisconsin coming off a big win, and the Boilermakers playing some tough teams, it is first blood here to the Badgers.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have been really either of these two teams that struck first. They seem to be a real even matchup tonight, and I have a feeling that the Boilermakers are certainly going to come back into this game with a real roar. But again, credit to the Badgers taking the most of those opportunities in that red zone 22.
Sean O'Donnell going to get us started here again. The senior had a good game so far, has O'Donnell. Industrial engineering major hangs that one. That's one. You could see the look immediately. He was going to want to forget. Should be a scrum midfield here for the Badgers, leading 5-0. Just under 25 minutes gone in the first half.
See here on the replay, his head immediately turns to the left, and we've all had those moments, that's for sure. Unfortunate Sean O'Donnell, the number 12 there, that one just shanked off the side of the boot, but first midfield scrum, set piece attacking opportunity for the Badgers.
With the outside speed we've seen on this Badgers team, you can see a couple of runners off to that left-hand side. We'll have some more right. Palm has the ball at his feet. Butner trying to dig it out of there. Pressure coming from the Boilermakers. They're going to go to this left. Bell gets it ahead for Harris throwing on to. Harris does exactly that. Ball rolling towards touch and in touch, so inside their 22. It's going to be a Boilermaker line out. Good result there for the Badgers. Badgers putting the territorial pressure on here.
Yeah, that's just wonderful game management there from the number 10, Carter Bell. Just a fantastic little grubber through, and although it didn't meet the oncoming runner of Eric Harris, it still found touch inside the 22, which is a net gain there for the Badgers. It may have, however, touched Purdue, and it is the Badgers'
ball.
ball.
Referee said it was hit by a Boilermakers player, so it's going to be a line out here for the Badgers. Badgers go to Trotter. He has been the line out target. Takes that one a little low. Ball in the midfield. Again, the ball just a little still in the midfield, not quite getting the acceleration that they want, but now they come around the side here looking for the corner. It is going to be no problem. It's going to be a second try. It's going to be Callum Jones, the senior business major from Hudson, Wisconsin, touches it down. Callum Jones, 10-0 Badgers.
Yeah, well, it's that back line again for Wisconsin, creating all the opportunities that came from that initial kick just a couple of minutes ago that your great eyesight picked up. Johnny, it fell in favour of Wisconsin, and just here squaring up the defenders. The number 15 managed to draw two in here, and then just a simple draw and pass, and the number 11 Jones still had work to do to beat his last man in the form of Custra, but that is a fantastic finish, and the Badgers go ahead once more with another try.
Callum Jones gets a reward there, but well played by the entire team with that line out. We take a look. Carter Bell, another senior from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, hangs that one up in the air, pushes it to the left. So 10-0 in this first half. National Collegiate Rugby bringing you Friday Night Rugby. We'll look at this little offload again.
Yeah, you can see it was the number 11 there for the Boilermakers, Kalasi, who just got caught in the middle there, and they took the space on the outside, but again it was a 1v1 situation which wingers always love, and it was Jones that won the battle on that occasion against Castro.
O'Donnell finds a beautiful 10 on that one, but it comes down to the Badgers. Badgers hit right into touch. Good result after a kick he was not pleased with. That was a beauty from O'Donnell. Line out coming here to the Boilermakers. Boilermakers looking for the attack. Down 10-0. Ball sails over again. Once again on the hands of Oliver Held. He's taking the majority of the Boilermakers line out so far. Ball comes back into the big number one, Owen Clovis. Clovis, sophomore from Muskego, Wisconsin. Quick ball to back from Butner. Butner as a runner gets it to the Palm. The Palm gets to Harris. He picks it up off his shoelaces and is quickly hit by a couple of Boilermakers players. Wisconsin will get this back. Butner, the defender on him quick there, has to take it to ground. Trotter steps into that first receiver spot. A little dummy pass out the back there. Good deception. Doesn't get him too much. Declan Smith takes it to the ground. Quickly they come. Space in the middle of the field for the big number one, Clovis. He's had some good tight runs. Certainly eyes up the gaps between the defenders as they come a little wider now. Venner from Toma, Wisconsin. Butner again gets the Bell. Bell standing a little tight, but finds a runner. Butner going to keep working this side. Ball to the try scorer. Into the hands of Callum Jones. Jones back to Butner. Butner has some runners. There's Trotter. Butner Cross in the middle. We got runners coming both directions. Callum Jones nearly away with that one. Desperate tackle from Michael Murphy, but effective, takes him down. Do they have the room out wide now? They have 2 runners in space here if they can get the ball away. Declan Smith gets it away just a little too late there to Harris. Eric Harris in a contact. Good footwork to keep a couple of people away there from Harris. Ball now, Butner moves it out there into the hands of Bell. Get to the big number 4 there, Sawatsky. Big Joel Sawatsky takes it into contact. Trotter was looking for a runner there, but hangs on it himself. Gets across to 22. Butner, Bell, the combination working well. Inside runners. Inside runner gets past a couple. Uses pretty effectively. It looks like Held that took that one. And it was. Players trying to come over. Disrupted here by the Boilermakers. Quick ball. Bell has to hang on that one himself. Player's going to need to release there from the Boilermakers. Ethan Preskey, they were reserve in right now. Ball wide, looking for it again is Callum Jones. He's over the line. Did it go forward? It seems as such. Referee comes back. And it was thrown forward there by the Badgers. So Boilermakers ball, nearly another Badgers try. Great work.
Oh, you can see fantastic angle there, and well, I mean, that angle probably doesn't do it much justice because that is probably right on the margin of things, but maybe just caught it in front of the man, stopping a potential double there for Callum Jones in the space of a short amount of time. But got to give credit to this Badgers attack at the moment, the way they're utilising those inside runners to find these seams in the Boilermakers defence. It's just pretty to watch at the moment, Johnny Broker.
Certainly has been. Has been good rugby from the Badgers, and both teams certainly willing to give it a go in this matchup. Luke McAllister waiting for this one, gets a bouncing ball. So yeah, that was O'Donnell sitting there as a receiver. They have to run the ball out from their own zone. John Custer gets it. Pressure from Wisconsin. Referee telling the players it is Boilermaker ball. Nice deep try zone, but ball is going to be hoofed right down the middle of the field. Bounces up in the air. Vasconcelos takes that one. Gets it across to Harris. Harris, a little more room to run. He's going to pass that one away and wrap around. Harris gets it back from Coke. Flat ball there to Bell. Gets it to the big fella, Clovis. Clovis looking at the line, and it is Owen Clovis. It gets through one. The hard charging prop can't quite make it, but this one's going to come back into the hands of Joseph Cope, and it's going to be another try here for the Badgers. Joe Cope, the junior from Woodbury, Minnesota, touches down for another 5. We're at 15.
Yeah, again, it's just those forwards finding themselves in the right gap, and that man who scored the try has been super impressive today, particularly with his running lines and taking the ball into space. But this again, the replay of the try from Coke, pretty simple in the end, but a well-deserving 5 points beside his name, and it started with that brutal carry from Owen Clovis, who you mentioned earlier, Johnny, has had some barnstorming runs so far in this game. As we see here it is. Manages to break the first tackle and almost goes over the line, and credit to Castro. That was a real brave last grasp tackle, but in the end they just had too much on the left edge, and Coke with the try.
Yeah, it's been good defense from the Boilermakers. It's just a couple of those little things, that Clovis run just gets in there. Gets in behind the line and just, disorganizes things. As we look at Bell here, takes another one, slides across the front. We're at 15-0 Badgers over the Boilermakers.
Okay, so down here you got in the tussle.
Let's see here again, that initial break from Clovis just set up the platform, and the reinforcements were able to arrive and get quick ball for the number 9, Butner, to get it out to the left.
And all credit to Custer, as you said right there. Stood right up to Clovis, shut him down. Full back on prop, 15-on-1, as we're at the 34-minute mark. 6 minutes to go in this first half. National Collegiate Rugby bringing you Friday Night Rugby here at the Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex. O'Donnell puts another ball up. Captain Titus Henkel's there, number 6. You see him looking up there, and that one doesn't go 10 again. So will most likely be another scrum for the Badgers at midfield.
Yeah, just not what you want for the Boilermakers. It's been all the Badgers in the last 20 or so minutes of this game after Purdue looked really promising in the opening stanza, but little errors like that just lets the Badgers stamp their mark on the first half. 15 points to 0. Certainly by no means finished, but
yeah, certainly the misconversions there, as you point out, Wheels, could be a difference here. Not, could be 21 right now. Instead, it's 15-0 Wisconsin. You hear the home crowd getting behind their Badgers. Off to the left-hand side we go. The boot again, the left-hand boot from Carter Bell. Hangs the ball up in the air. Harris is coming down on this. Can he make the tackle? Can't quite get a hold of Custer, but the second defender does. Players coming in from Wisconsin. A referee warning players. Everybody obeys, so we're not going to have a penalty here, but at their own 5-meter line with a big hit from Sawatsky come the Boilermakers. Pressure coming in. Ball back into the try-zone. I love these deep try-zones here at the Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex. Davis has it, moves it. Harris has it, excuse me. Moves it across. A couple of bobbled balls there. Some lost ground as the ball goes up into the air from Callum Jones. Callum Jones starting to show a bag of tricks there, but can't quite take his own ball. Gets it knocked forward. Bounce did not work in his favor. It's going to be a scrum here for the Boilermakers.
yeah, it's certainly looking like Callum Jones, everything he's touching, almost turning into magic at the moment. The bounce of the rugby ball can be a cruel thing at the best of times, and just didn't lay up into his hands, and he would have been clean through to the try line, you'd think, if he gathered that one, but the Boilermakers just struggling to exit accurately here. Over 3 minutes to go in the first half. They want to get some real territory on this kick and look to try and get some points on the board before they head into the coaches' talks at halftime.
Fueling puts that one in. Big drive from the Badgers. Put some pressure on him. O'Donnell has to take that one a little tougher than he would like, so it's going to be a line out about just under 40 meters out for the Badgers. So good distance nonetheless from O'Donnell under pressure. Line out here to the Badgers.
You got to be from behind that last one. If he's in, you can't just come in.
Get the close up there of the Wisconsin jerseys. A delight for the commentators, that's for sure. As we mentioned in the pre-game offline, Johnny, these kits are absolutely perfect.
Lovely to read that one. Not straight, however. Trotter was well on the outside there, so fair call. Opportunity here for Purdue, and they're going to choose the scrum. Make you come back next week. Belmont Abbey is going to be taking on the Walsh, 7 p.m. Eastern Rugby Network again. National Collegiate Friday Night Rugby. Belmont Abbey versus Walsh.
Black 22, right shoulder. Squared up. Pull it forward, please.
Referee Winkler is telling some of the players to get their shoulders in the right place. Good work they do with the referees to make sure these scrums are safe and stable as they can be. Of course, one team can tend to have a little more power there. As you see the Badgers pushing forward, ball squirts out the back. Fueling gets it to McAllister. They get it out the back there to O'Donnell. O'Donnell, one of their danger players, looks to the wing. Bobble ball for Aguirre, so he cannot do quite what he would like to do, get the speed and pace on that ball. It's going to come back to the Boilermakers. Defensive line set for the Badgers. Taking it a little deep there are the Boilermakers. Theo Samard takes that one in. Fueling. Just over a minute to go here in the first half. Boilermakers would like some points. Got some runners out wide. Tackle comes in there from Bryce Quinton. Bryce Quinton playing in the wide channels. The Badgers trying to drive this one over. Did he spill that one forward? He did in the act of turning that over. That could have been Badgers ball in a great position. Instead, turned over to the Boilermakers. Scrum here for Purdue.
Unfortunate there for the Wisconsin Badgers, but got to give credit to the urgency of the swarm of Badgers that piled into that breakdown, and they almost got the clean turnover back, but into the last 30 seconds of the game. I know one thing the Boilermakers will be looking to do and get this one out of bounds downfield.
Bind.
30 seconds to go on the game clock. Maybe a little referee's time. There were no major time-stopping injuries in that first half. So we'll see that before. And you see the Badgers now turn that one over. Off the back goes Emilio DePalm from Oakland, California. Referee's going to whistle here. I think it's a penalty against this Boilermakers team. As you can see quickly, Mason Butner, speed of thought there to get the ball going quick. Here comes the big man. He loves to run. Owen Clovis. 2 meters out. Close to that time. DePalm comes diving over. Try awarded. Another try. Close to the post this time for the Wisconsin Badgers. It's 20-0.
I didn't get a number.
Just listening to the referee's comms here, he's confirmed the try, but the Boilermakers thought they'd spotted a little knock on there in the initial run from Clovis, but Emilio DePalm, a man out of Oakland, California, right on the stroke of halftime. This is a coach's dream where you can apply points into referee's time. The quick tap again from Butner, just wanting to play with real tempo. Here we see the run from Clovis, and he went to go for an initial place and potentially a little bobble.
And that kick is good, so that is the last action of the first half. A referee has whistled for that.
Win guys, maybe we're going to kick quite as much. Yeah.
At halftime, it is 22-0, and now for one of our sponsors, Play with Purpose. Rhino Rugby is proud to offer the first ever recycled rugby balls made with recycled rubber to help protect our environment. Perfect for both practice and match day, you can keep your performance high while keeping the planet clean. Visit rhinorugby.com today to learn more. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half. Stay with us. Great game in our hands.
We've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting. We've created strength and beauty time and again. Our machines are made for one thing: the perfect hit. We are the crouch. We are the bind. We are the set. We are the squeeze. We are the hit. We are Rhino, home of the scrum.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks, bats, or gloves. We don't wear shoulder pads or helmets. We keep playing when it hurts. And we leave everything on the field. What we wear must be built for our game. Rugby is all about feeling. The feeling when you crouch, when you bind, when you set. The feeling when you go into that first defender. The feeling when you make that first tackle. The feeling when you take that first hit. We are that feeling. We are contact. We are Rhino.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks, bats, or gloves. We don't wear shoulder pads or helmets. We keep playing when it hurts. And we leave everything on the field. What we wear must be built for our game.
Welcome back to National Collegiate Rugby's Friday Night Rugby, the Big Ten matchup. Wisconsin University, the Badgers are leading 22-0 over Purdue University, the Boilermakers. Big second half coming up. There are some fans here at the Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex. Tremendous place. See a little work coming in here. Early Eric Harris turnover. That's some of the best ball they had all day. John Broker with Thomas Wheels Grant. Wheels, some of these tries were lovely.
Yeah, they certainly were, Johnny. A fantastic half of rugby from the Wisconsin Badgers. You can see that was one of the tries there to the number 12, Joe Venner. Rather, it was the number 13, Joseph Cope. But this is the one here that was brilliant here from Callum Jones. The little in and out step on the right edge to put them ahead. Second try of the game. And rather, this was the try from the number 13, Joseph Cope, who's worked really hard in that opening 40 minutes. With a number of crucial line breaks that man has as well. Owen Clovis, some barnstorming runs, and it was the number 8 off the back. With the pick, Emilio DePalm right on the halftime buzzer. I can imagine they are a pretty happy coaching staff. That Badgers set up, Johnny.
Can the Boilermakers make it back from 22-0 down? We see O'Donnell getting ready to kick. Referee Jake Winkler gets us going again. Friday Night Rugby, National Collegiate Rugby, going on till November. Fantastic games. This one living up to its billing. Big Ten matchup. Wisconsin comes down with the ball and start with the lead. Big runs coming in. That one spilled forward. Early mistake. Boilermakers need some early energy. Fueling. McAllister gets it out to Whitekin. Whitekin gets across the 22. Both teams with a big, hard-charging number 1 player. Ball again from Fueling, a little wider this time. Bobble from McAllister. Can't get that one going. Luca McAllister from Milwaukee. Can see him sliding off there to keep this team moving. Ball comes out to the number 8 Blaze. Haven't seen a ton from him. The reserve, Ethan Presky, wearing number 22. Ball up to the Boilermakers, returned over there by the Badgers. Badgers have a knock on. Now they've got a big space to run. Not going to make it too far. That one spills forward. First advantage was over, so a referee is going to come back to this one. So it's going to be a knock on that first one in this area to the Badgers. It's going to be a scrum here for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, again, that's a little bit of what's carried over from the first half. We can see here the Boilermakers just slips out there as he looks to take contact and broken play. The Badgers are just so dangerous That's the number 2 there, Adam Eckstein. Loses control of it on the ground, so the Boilermakers get the ball back, but again, threatening with ball in hand are Wisconsin.
At their 40-meter line, go Purdue. Purdue. Looking to O'Donnell for a run. O'Donnell goes wide with a big hit, comes in there. That was Khaleesi, but he was barreled into touch with some good defensive work. That'll make the crowd happy, as you can hear.
Yeah, that is textbook contact there from the Badgers. We'll get a number on it. I think it was the number 7, Declan Smith. We have a look here on the Next Level Rugby replay in full slow motion. Wonderful technique, driving through the hips, and it was indeed the number 7, Declan Smith. Great job.
Declan Smith will show his grandchildren that video as the ball comes up, and it's Owen Clovis. Owen Clovis, a joy to watch run out here. Ball back inside. DePalm, Emilio DePalm. Bishop O'Dowd High School out in California. Good work coming in there from Carter Bell. Carter Bell, Butner. And advantage right there. You can see the player, lazy runner coming off sides. I don't think it was Butner trying to draw that one, Wheels, but penalty nonetheless for the Badgers 3 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, certainly not intentional, as you mentioned, Johnny. We'll see here on the replay, just as he's retreating, he cops a little bit of a falcon, does Adam Eckstein, so it'll be the Badgers who find touch 5 metres out. And do we see them go for that maul again that they tried to go for in the first half, and Purdue didn't have any part of it?
Lazy running, okay?
Eckstein, the grad student from Vicksburg, Mississippi, aerospace engineering major. A line out here for the Badgers. They've got the full complement in there. They go to the palm in the middle. Not engaged there by Purdue. Ball slips and is knocked on, and then a penalty against Wisconsin. They're going to have to sort that out, but intelligently played by the Boilermakers.
Number 5 was in front of the knock-on. He's offside.
Yeah, you can see there the explanation from the referee. Number 5 was in front of the knock-on, therefore deemed offside. So that'll be the boot of O'Donnell, who clears this one with a fantastic
Who's in charge of the lineup?
penalty touch finder.
Good work there by the Boilermakers. You know, I learned today, Wheels, that they weren't always the Boilermakers until the 1820s. Before that, they were the Grangers, the Pumpkin Shuckers, the Rail Splitters, the Cornfield Sailors, the Blacksmiths, the Foundry Hands, and then finally the Boilermakers. Boilermakers, right off of their webpage for the athletics department at Purdue. Interesting evolution of names here. Now to the Boilermakers, one of the more unique names in sports in the United States. Away come Wisconsin with that Purdue line out. They have been pretty successful at turning those over. Back across midfield they go. Henkels, the captain, has to step in to distributor. Will get to the Trotter. Trotter never normally taken down by one defender. It took a third. Ball comes out there. A big run coming from Venner. Venner put into that tackle by Bell, just looking to make some space. And off they continue to go. The number 8, Emilio DePalm. Back to Trotter. You can see their runners in the second half starting to feature key players of this team. Pass back inside, slightly telegraphed, but he's going to get through a couple anyway, Callum Jones. Callum Jones, always on the shoulder there of their number 10, looking for some place to run. Penalty, player playing it on the ground after some good defensive work around the breakdown by the Boilermakers.
Yeah, as you mentioned, good defensive work at the breakdown from the Boilermakers. We'll see here on the replay. They went for that pick and go. And again, Butner just doing a good job to keep the tempo alive once more. But that inside runner of Jones, who has been so threatening all game, let us get a little bit scrambled there at breakdown time, and the turnover happens.
Ball here for the Boilermakers. Purdue. A little pick and go off the back there. A different attacking idea. Brendan Ryan taken to the ground by the Badgers.
Backwards.
Ball back, slips through the hands of McAllister. They're inside their 22. A big hit nearly comes in. Good run to keep that one alive there from Jake Murphy. Ball to Fueling. McAllister finds a runner. Is there space here? They get out to the 22. That's where they've been so far. They get it into a speedster's hand. Now there's a little bit of room. Breaks one tackle. Taken down by the second. Albert Aguirre taking that ball a good distance. They're at their 40. Looking for some runners, but again, this great defensive line speed from the Wisconsin Badgers, just keeping an attack at bay here from the Boilermakers. Pushing them back across their 22. You can see the depth that the Boilermakers are trying to play with. O'Donnell takes that in. Players from Wisconsin just flying into that ruck, trying to turn the ball over, but not going to happen as it comes back to the back to the Boilermakers. Eckstein has to play the distributor that time. It gets it into the hands of Kustra. Fueling it back in his preferred position. It gets it back there. They've lost a lot of ground now. After making it to the 40, they're back inside their 20 to the Boilermakers. Still have ball in hand. Referee penalty against the Boilermakers this time. Badgers are going to go quick. They're right at the line. Can they get there? Not quite yet. Looking to come out. Ball into the hands of Bryce Quinton. Bryce Quinton to the line. Bryce Quinton over the line. And Bryce Quinton, the senior engineering, mechanics, and aerospace major from Purdue and Wisconsin, touches down the first try of the second half.
Yeah, fantastic. And Bryce Quinton, as you mentioned, finishing off the work, but I've said his name a number of times tonight on the exact same purpose with these quick taps. Mason Butner, we almost need a quick tap count. Now, rather, it was the number 6, though, that took it up. I beg your pardon. That was Titus Henkels, the number 6, who took it up. But Butner did a good job to keep that ball flowing nice and fast. And the leg drive from Bryce Quinton, that's some wrestling-style power there to get over the white chalk. And a convincing lead here for the Badgers.
29-0. You could hear the whistle. That kick was good. So it is going to be Purdue Boilermakers to restart the game, and with a good 29-0 lead, the hometown Wisconsin Badgers. Badgers wheels, we're talking about schools not named after the animal. Badgers was a nickname given to some of the lead miners in the 1800s in Wisconsin who just lived in the mines, just built houses in the side of the mountain. As we look at another try here from Bryce Quinton.
There you go. Historian, rugby commentator, coach. You can do it all, Johnny.
I like to do my research and I find interesting things. I hope everybody else finds it interesting too. I know Wheel does.
Oh, absolutely, I do. On a Friday night as well.
Learn something new every day, Wheels. That's what they say. Ball here to Purdue. O'Donnell. Another great kick, but it's going to bounce into touch. And a couple of miscues, but really some wonderful restarts has O'Donnell.
Yeah, credit to O'Donnell. We had a couple of wonky ones in the first half, but he's regained his composure and really put up some nice ones, but they haven't had much of a chase line. The forwards need to help out the man who's putting them on the spot and try and get a contest there in the air to get the ball back.
Change coming in from the men from Madison here. Held will remain in the game, but a replacement coming early on. You can expect Curtis Shepard to use his bench. 29-0. Boilermakers may need to bring some people in. Lift the energy for this proud team as the ball goes up. It's Trotter. Middle of the field, they go at the back. There's room there. That's the man, Callum Jones. Callum Jones gets it a little wider. Get the ball into the hands of Eric Harris. Harris across the 22, but tackled and slides in a touch. You can see what he could be capable of with just a little more room. A great line break there from Callum Jones.
Yeah, 5.
See here on the replay once more, really good clean set piece. Fantastic accurate passing, that little backdoor ball, and Callum Jones, well, as you said, Johnny, is so dangerous with ball in hand, as is this man, Harris, who's had a number of elusive runs and great cover tackle, though, from the number 6, Jake Murphy. Back here for the Badgers, though.
Jake Murphy from Mishawaka, Indiana, went to Brother Rice High School. Sorry, may not have gone to Brother Rice. Ball coming across in the middle of the field. Knocked forward. It looked like an intentional knock-on from here. We'll see what the referee has to say. Ball into the hands of the ever-dangerous Callum Jones. Waiting pod. Little pop pass to the back there. Nice work. Gets the ball to Oliver Held. Oliver Held keeps his feet
16.
16 for the Boilermakers. Little Nicholas Walters nearly committing a penalty, but ball comes back. Another inside line. Slips out of the hands of Joseph Koch.
I can't play on from that. 7's in front. First thing is knock on here.
We're talking about Jake Murray before he went to Marion High School, so pardon me for the mistake there.
Make sure
We'll take a look at O'Donnell.
Tackler.
Knock on from Wisconsin.
That one was borderline. I'm gonna be
See
looking
here
for it
on
now.
the replay, again, they've frequented that inside pass, but the man Koch, who's done so many good things tonight, just couldn't quite collect that one cleanly, as we see some substitutions looking to be made once more. That's the man, number 12, Joe Venner, who scored himself a try tonight
Time's on, fellas. Here we are.
for the Badgers.
Well, I found it very interesting that an inside runner coming off of Carter Bell off the 10 for Wisconsin has been any number of players.
22,
Normally it's
right
kind of your
shoulder,
wingers
flat.
hanging out there, people
Right
getting
shoulder,
in.
please.
But it seems to be a tactic that just about
No, other
anybody
way.
can get there and just let them know you're there. They'll try to draw some defenders over. If that space is open, it has gotten them a lot of pay dirt this evening.
Yeah, it certainly has, and probably more often than not in the game you see the number 10 or the pods tip to the outside guy. They want to take the space wider, but it's working well for them tonight, the Badgers. So's the scrum.
Yeah, that one's taken away right there. They move quickly. They've got runners outside. Can't quite get it there, can Koch, but he's happy to take it to the ground. Butner has ball in hand, looking at runners out there. Ball ripped away on the ground by the Boilermakers. We will see what the call is.
And then I'm asking him off, and you're picking the leg. We can't do that, okay? So it's just gonna. You guys are attacking, so we're gonna stay here. Scrum red. Just please. I'm gonna ask you to do something. Please comply. And we'll avoid
Interesting call there from the referee, Jake Winkler. You know, to me, it looked just naked eye quickly like a Boilermaker playing it off the ground there. It seemed to be a couple of offenses. It's going to be a scrum here to Wisconsin.
Yeah, definitely a couple of promiscuous infringements there, Johnny, but I want to credit the referee. I thought he had a fantastic first half and has really let this game flow and turn out to be the spectacle that it has so far. Even though the scoreboard is slightly lopsided at the moment, it's still been a entertaining game under lights here in Wisconsin.
Ball across into some dangerous runners' hands. Was that an obstruction? It was not, so Bell's going to hang on to it. Referee's happy. Butner has runners out to the right. They have numbers. Can they get it there? De Palma gets it into the hands of Harris. Little stop-start. He's gotten through a couple. Eventually gets taken down. Ball ripped away by the Boilermakers. Boilermakers inside their 22. Down 29-0. Need some points on the board. 14 minutes gone in this second half. National Collegiate Rugby Friday Night Rugby Series. Ball there from the Boilermakers. Spits out into the hands of the Badgers, but illegally so from one of the Wisconsin players. You can see the clear hand motion there from Jake Winkler. It is going to be a penalty for Purdue inside their own 22.
Yeah, good clear-cut decision there. Ruck was formed and that one just illegally stripped at the base of the ruck. So Sean O'Donnell had a good touch finder moments ago. We'll look to clear this one downfield once more and just shy of the 10-metre mark. Really love to see the Boilermakers try to get that good front forward ball here, string together some phases. They certainly have the attacking weapons, Johnny. We saw in that opening 15 minutes, just haven't quite kicked into gear yet again.
Yes, haven't been quite putting together the phases they would like to. It's got to start here at the lineout. They've had a couple of miscues on the throw. Nice and simple. The ball comes, Trotter takes it away anyway. Trotter knocks it down and moves into the midfield. They got runners coming wide. They get that one out there quick. Get it to Bell. They get it to the try score. It is that man, Callum Jones. Callum Jones around the corner, and Callum Jones will touchdown again for the Wisconsin Badgers as we move to 34.
You mentioned it. It had to be that man again, Callum Jones. Another outstanding finish on the wing for the Badgers. And he's got margarine on him. People are absolutely slipping off him tonight. Fantastic, evasive footwork. And the Badgers with a really commanding lead now. 34 points to nil, about to be with a kick to come. See here on the replay, the number 12, Venner. Back to his 10, Bell, who just found Jones with that lovely flat pass. Had to beat one once again, and in the end almost ran in untouched. Simple stuff.
You can hear the whistle, so that kick is good. We're at 36-0. The Wisconsin Badgers lead the Purdue Boilermakers. 16 minutes gone. 24 to go, if you need to know. Here in this Big Ten matchup at National Collegiate Rugby, bringing you this exciting action on the Rugby Network. O'Donnell set to kick. A little longer this time, opposite direction, gets it to Eric Harris. Eric Harris looking around the corner, gets a little pass away. Ball to the ground there from Held. Oliver Held has been steady, the number 2 here for the Badgers. And at their own 40, they attack. Quick ball has been a hallmark of this game. Ball at the back here from Wisconsin. Can't move that one to the next attacking pot of players. As they take it in, they're going to have to start again here. That's Mason Butner. Butner. Ball down to the left foot. They're going to move this one forward. It's a foot race. Comes down to Purdue under pressure. Jacob Mandel puts that away, number 18, into the game at this point. Into the hands of Nicholas Walters. Ball knocked on. We have a penalty here. Player offsides that took that knocked on ball, so Butner's going to go quick. Butner nearly gets hit illegally. The ball in the middle. Here comes a big fella. That's Patty Lavin. Patty Lavin takes the ball to the ground. Cross they come, looking for an attack. Koch has a ball on his own. Had a couple of runners out in some space there. Decided to take it on his own. Butner knows a bit better. Gets it to Held. Oliver Held playing those wide channels. Looking again. Can't get that ball away. Vasconcelos. Ball gets knocked down, but still alive. Bryce Quinton. Another little drive forward from Lavin. Ball caught up in there. Hasn't been taken away. Has not. Still comes back to this Wisconsin team. Quinton. Hard working. Number 3, we have a penalty advantage against the Boilermakers. So free play here for the Badgers. Ball comes out looking for a one on his own, and he's going to get it. Carter Bell touches down for 5. Everything going the Wisconsin way.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Carter Bell, another one that I think very deserving of a 5-pointer tonight. I think he's controlled the game extremely well for Wisconsin. We credit all the work that the forwards have done, but it's really been the distribution abilities of Bell. We see here, just takes the line on himself and splits through the gap of the 2 defenders. And Wisconsin out to a very commanding lead now with a potential opportunity to convert his own try.
Right in his range here for Carter Bell. Off of that left boot. Does convert to another 2 points to his tally. Carter Bell converting his own try. And Wisconsin looking very unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, you see Carter Bell demanding for the ball nice and quick, and he got good service. Still had work to do to get it across the line, so another great individual try, and we've seen plenty of them tonight from the Badgers.
Had me fooled for a second. I thought I saw him shaping the pass right there, so I started to look at the outside numbers, see who he had with him, but Bell takes it himself. Well-deserved try, has run this offense very well. So we said Butner played 10 last year, Bell played in the center, so now they've moved into 9 and 10. It's that combination there working well for the Badgers. Will prove to be successful as the season goes on. Big win against rival Minnesota last week. Strong numbers so far against Wisconsin. It's another O'Donnell kick goes awry.
Yeah, unfortunate there for O'Donnell. He's had some amazing kicks, and that one wasn't far away from being another special kick. Had brilliant hang time, but just drifted out on the full, so the Badgers again with the midfield opportunity. just one of those nights, unfortunately, for O'Donnell. We all have them at the best of times, Johnny.
Certainly does happen from time to time, but Boilermakers certainly a quality side here. Not getting quite the run of play. Referee Winkler asking for some changes there around that scrum.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's 22 still I need a little bit from you. Here we go. Thank you. Crouch. Bind.
Badgers ball. You see Emilio DePalm the back.
Break foot! Red! Break foot! Red!
Butner gets that one in. For the referee calling for a break foot. It means he wanted the front foot of the hooker down where it has to be to begin with. So it doesn't come, so it's going to be a free kick initially, but then the referee's going to move it up another 10 meters for one of the Badgers players kicking away the ball. In the scrum there, the hooker, the player in the middle of the front row, has to have their foot down to hold everything steady until the scrums come together, and that's what he was looking for. Quick ball here from the Boilermakers. Nicholas Walters. Ball back to Mandel. Mandel finds McAllister. McAllister gets it across, ball hits the ground, slips. Did it go forward? A referee on the spot whistles that one up. It indeed went forward. It's going to be a scrum here for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, again, just unlucky for the Boilermakers there. Certainly no short of effort in this game. They haven't given up. Wisconsin have had things fall into their favour on a number of occasions tonight, and credit to them for making the most of it. This man with the ball in hand now, Butner. You mentioned Bell, Johnny, but I think Butner's had a really solid game in that 9-jumper as well for the Badgers.
Yeah, they connect so well, the two of them. All seniors, clearly been playing together for 4 years. Ball gets stuck in the middle there. Referee whistles it up. Again, a penalty at the scrum against Wisconsin. Not for feeding. Don't see many of those these days. But free kick opportunity here for the Purdue Boilermakers. McAllister, they're going to go for a set move here. Players are running onto the ball. Into contact they go. Badger trying to rip that away. Ball goes free. Player didn't release. And not going to work out that time for the Boilermakers. Butner, as usual, ball in hand very quickly.
Decision. Let's have it.
Left boot there from Bell. Gets some distance, about 30 meters out. Another line out for the Badgers.
The second one was a feed from the scrum. Not nearly straight enough.
See here on the replay. Have a look at this, just the line speed. Great connectivity there on defense as they've had all night, but there's a textbook turnover from the number 5, Jackson Trotter.
Trotter has had an impressive evening. Leon Morales right there, the junior marketing major from Chicago, puts the ball in. Quickly, they come out into the hands of Joey Willman, wearing the number 18 jersey. To the ground they go. Badgers on the move again. Butner finds his partner. Little cross kick there. They've got some points differential. They can try some things, and this thing is going to work out wonderfully as Koch scores his second. It looked like it could have been anybody's for the moment, but bounced the Badgers' way, and they touch down for another 5 wheels. What a play.
Yeah, sensational play from set piece. Joseph Koch gets number 2 of the night for him. Again, we mentioned earlier he has been another standout in the back line. Have a look here from Butner. Fantastic distribution, but Bell, what can't this man do? Puts the boot to ball, and the bounce of the rugby ball. We mentioned it can be cruel at the best of times, but it can also be the most beautiful thing in the world. And it laid into the lap there of Joseph Koch for try number 2 beside his tally.
Bell to convert this one. Bell hits that one, no problem. Adds 2 more as the Badgers continue to roll. Look at a beautiful look at the evening here at this Wisconsin Rugby Sportsplex. Sort of an if you build it, they will come. There have been many championships held here. Great facility, beautiful host. We taking a look as the ball comes up, and Custra wanted to catch one in the air and kick it, but couldn't quite find it. Hope the recipient touches it down.
As you mentioned, Johnny, just couldn't quite get the judge. It was a lovely weighted kick from Carter Bell. Good hang time. And they've cracked the 50-point mark, I believe. 52, impressive stuff.
O'Donnell doesn't find 10. Frustrating night for a great player. Nico Guzman has ball in hand. First-year player from Cicero, Illinois.
Ready. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Guzman, first scrum for him. Ball doesn't quite go where they wanted. It gets to Bell. Bell moves it across. A good change of field from him. Coke, the double try scorer, gets it out into the hands of Vikrant Mandati. Mandati takes it into contact. Mandati from Washington State. Most of the reserves in the game here for this Badgers team.
Good job. No.
Guzman getting some pressure on him. Ball comes back inside. A little messy.
Number 7.
They come back. A referee whistle here. Looks like a penalty against
Yeah, but you were started offside.
the Boilermakers.
Number 7. Tap it, Brad.
This man again.
Another.
Apologies, Johnny. Saying the man here with the magic boot, looking to send this one deep in to the 22, and that's a good touch finder.
To his preferred side there goes Bell. We were talking about this beautiful facility. Not just a few rugby fields. They put a skate park in. Some other opportunities here for recreation for the local community. Well done.
Well, certainly one place you will not find me. Johnny dislocated kneecap in 2012, went for a kick flip.
If you want to make it a ball. If you don't want to,
So
Well,
I
we're
have
happy that you're
horrific
here with us.
memories. Yeah, exactly, in one piece.
we're playing on. Number 4's got it.
De Palma gets that one down to Guzman. Guzman gets the ball to Bell. Middle of the field they go. Inside runner coming strong, but well hit was Mandati. Vikrant Mandati, the junior. They've got runners out wide. Bell has to take it himself. Bell has the attention of a couple of Boilermakers defenders. Players have to roll away. Referee says he's happy with what he saw. Ball up to Morales. Morales, another Chicago, Illinois base player. Guzman from Cicero, part of Chicagoland. Across they come into the middle of the field. Coke straightens up his line. Guzman has to go in and take that one, but ball's knocked on. Going to be a scrum just inside their 22 for the Boilermakers as we are coming on to the 70-minute mark. A couple of more subs coming in.
Mark your fellows, scrum block.
Yeah, into nearly the last 10 minutes of the game. The Boilermakers just haven't had any real attacking opportunity in the second half yet. It's been all the Badgers, so let's see what they can muster up here in the final 10 minutes. Would love to see them put some points on the board, and I think they definitely have the ability to do so.
Right shoulder. Thank you. Crouch. Bind. Set.
All in from the Boilermakers. Stable scrum here for the men from Purdue. Ball bounces back there. Knock on. From McAllister, going to be a scrum here just a few meters out for the Badgers with their reserves on the field wheels. A great attacking opposition here, or opportunity here, excuse me.
Yeah, certainly is, and I think the Badgers' impact has been just as good as their starters as well. They've managed to keep that tempo and accuracy of the game going, which is super vital, particularly when you get into those crunch matches, Johnny. You give those substitutes those crucial minutes.
2 feet behind it. 2 feet behind it.
Off the back comes De Palma. Guzman shows outside, keeps the ball himself. Good footwork, gets it to one of his other reserves there. It is Mondati coming in. Try awarded. Vikrant Mondati touches down. And a man from Sammamish, Washington gets 5 on the board.
Yeah, well, there's one of the impact players right there.
This is a cramp.
Vikrant Mondati finishing off a well-executed scrum. It was the 8-pick, shape to the right. It was Nico Guzman there who did all of the work to create the space down the right edge, but Mondati still had to finish with some individual ability, and he did so. The Badgers playing some sparkling music.
I really love Guzman's ability to draw some defenders there. He's the first-year player, so an obvious potential replacement for Putner. But brings it in, uses his footwork, he just has to smooth out that pass a little bit, and those things will come with time as he's playing in Wisconsin. I'm sure Coach Curtis Shepard happy to have him. Bell hangs one up in the air.
See here once again on the replay, it was Nico Guzman went for the fake pump and go, the dummy, and then simple draw and pass on the right, and the finishing ability, and Darty.
$57-0 over the 70-minute mark here at the Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex. Bobble there from the Badgers. Did it go back? Referee seems to say he's fine with the Guzman. Moves that one across, slips in behind a couple of runners there. Eventually picked up by Morales from Pritzker College Prep. Guzman, a little slow with this one. Gets it back. Bell off that left boot, launches it downfield. Hanging over the head there of Bora Kalasi. Kalasi eludes his first defender. Kalasi, ball in hand, has to go into contact between two defenders there. Trotter tries to get in and get it for the Badgers. It can't get it in his hands. Little pop pass up there from Tarek Lewis.
Good job, Red.
And the Boilermakers. Mandel. Ball goes out, back in behind the intended receiver. It's scooped up after a little kick from Blaze there. Trying to go forward to the Boilermakers. Boilermakers late in this second half, looking to get some points on the board. Ball ripped away by Wisconsin.
Tackle! 17!
All out. Bell had to step in that time to the distributor role. Gets it into the hands of De Palma, but an eager runner all evening. Was Emilio De Palma? Excuse me, I'm calling De Palma. Emilio De Palma takes that one in. Bell off the left foot. Goes inside the 22, rolling, getting an unusual bounce. A hit comes in from the try scorer, Mandati, but picked up and headed down the other way are the Boilermakers. Boilermakers, good work there from Ryan Mahoney, wearing number 23. Ball across in front of the 22. Here come the Boilermakers. Defense strong still from the Badgers. Looked like that one got knocked forward.
Unfortunate there for the Boilermakers, is probably into just under 5 minutes to go here, Johnny. But
Knock on.
the Badgers
Knock on.
again
I don't believe it went to touch
at the
either.
moment, everything falling into favour for them. 57 points to 0 was, I don't think, being too reflective of the performance that Purdue are capable of. I think they certainly have plenty of firepower, just maybe an off day at the office, Johnny, which, as we know, can happen
Bind.
Certainly can.
Shoulders
Long
on,
season,
both
tough
hands.
day
Shoulders
so
on.
far for these Boilermakers. Badgers, you know, as you said, they're a very upperclassman heavy team, returning almost every player from last year starting in their first side. So a lot of continuity there has served them really well. As the ball comes off the back there, and Dell takes into contact. Pick and go
Still
from
advantage
Brendan
five.
Ryan.
New advantage 19.
Penalties against the Badgers, a couple of them. So they have the ball. They're going to go a little wide pass here. Now there's some room. Slipping on a tackle is Ruben Canora. Canora decides to take route number one right into one of the defenders there.
You can go now.
Wisconsin player got a little bit of the worse on that one. Looking for runners. Find a pod.
You're good, you're good.
Ball across, looking to get into the wider channels. Little wraparound play. Defenders bounced into his own player. Before that, that's O'Donnell looking for some space. O'Donnell down there seems to have taken a little bit of a knock. Hope he's okay and gets up. Ball comes across here into Theo Samar's hands.
There's no advantage, Charles. You're going back.
Referee is going to come back for his original whistle.
Good, Sean. No, going here. Number 19 offside.
O'Donnell just landed a little bit awkwardly there. So it's going back to the offsides against Wisconsin. Was just waiting for the number there.
Number 19 offside.
Joseph Garzinski.
See here, wraparound play. Did a good job to collect it. Did O'Donnell, and as you mentioned, just falls a little bit of a twist there. It's always a bit of a hard and mouse stuff when you see those movements happen in a game of rugby, but happy to see him on his feet and going again. He looks like a tough character, does Sean O'Donnell.
Penalty went to Purdue, so it'll be their lineout.
We might have to go.
57-0 late in this second half. Beautiful evening of rugby here in Wisconsin. Madison, to be exact, the capital of the state. Home to University of Wisconsin. Flagship location for the system. That ball comes down to Purdue, right at halfway.
Yes, it is.
At Brendan Ryan's feet. No one there to distribute. He's going to take that one. He's going to get driven back. Loses a couple of meters. That was Bryce Quinton making the tackle. From minute one, he has been aggressive. Ball coming across. Doesn't go to hand. That pressure from the Badgers defense still on. Knocked on by the Boilermakers into the hands of this Wisconsin team. Coke looking for some runners. Can't quite find it. Tight as Henkels, the captain.
No hands. Black. Black.
Wandering around for a bit there. Referee telling Purdue to let it go. Guzman gets that ball out. Across the 22 they come with hard runs. Guzman gets it to Bell. Bell's got some runners. Gets it out there to DePalm. DePalm moves that one into the hands of Isaac Laumer.
Not held.
Into the ground they go. Well done to nearly turn it over from the Boilermakers. Sending the big runners in. They can see the try line in the background there. As we're in the waning moments of this game, but that one knocked on. Tough luck there from Morales. Gets into the hands of the Boilermakers. They have a scrum advantage. It goes a couple of phases. That'll be over, probably over right now as the ball comes into Guzman's hands. Guzman, ball slips. It's at the touchline. It doesn't go in. It's in the hands of Khaleesi. Bora Khaleesi takes the ground. Another ball squirts out of the contact area behind the referee. Battle in the middle of the field. Boilermakers regather. Crossfield run, just looking for some space there was Tarek Lewis.
Red, leave it. Red, leave it.
In the red here, so we're in referee's time. Could be a few minutes left based on what he sees. Another good breakdown there. Recycling the ball are the Boilermakers. Playing a little bit tight right here in their own end. Got to be careful. Might want to try to move this just a little bit wider. They're running the big fellas at him. That's Adam Eckstein. Eckstein.
Just stay around.
Back again, ball's inside the 22. They're looking to that right-hand side. Want to keep the ball in hand, do the Boilermakers, but would like to get some points on the board before the end of this one. Down 57 at the moment. Ball in the hands of Mandel. Move it out again into the hands of Brendan Ryan. Brendan Ryan there. Penalty against Wisconsin, just at their own 22 with the Boilermakers.
See there, that's going to need some medical assistance for sure. Number 6, Titus Henkels, we play on here, Johnny.
Henkels, the team captain from Philadelphia, went to St. Joe's Prep. Needs some assistance there. O'Donnell kicks one over. Ball bounces off a waiting Badgers player. Kicking it away there, trying to get it in a touch. A big hit to wind that one off. Referee sees it goes in. Whistles for the end of that matchup. And this next level rugby production of National Collegiate Rugby's Friday Night Rugby, 57 to the University of Wisconsin Badgers, 0 for the Boilermakers of Purdue. Tough luck for these teams. Wheels, final thoughts.
Yeah, credit to the Badgers. A real comprehensive performance, both on attack and defense. Always good when you can keep your opponent to nil, but even more so on the attacking side of things. They had real fluidity, accuracy, and finished off some sparkling set-piece plays. So a great advertisement here for National Collegiate Rugby, Friday Night Rugby, and looking forward to next week already, Johnny.
Going to be fantastic. Belmont Abbey will take on Walsh in next week's Friday Night Rugby. We will take some looks at a few things that have happened during this game, Wheels, before we step away. Fans here at the Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex. Captain Titus Henkels there was critical in this game. We see the teams shaking hands, Wheels. Boilermakers just a little bit of work to do, but not far off it. Let's take a look at some of these plays. Thomas Wheels Garant, talk us through some of the action.
Yeah, well, that was probably the closest opportunity for the Boilermakers, but unfortunately it was the lock that had the ball. But that there, the number 12, Joe Venner, scoring the opening try for the Badgers. The midfield combination for Wisconsin was really formidable throughout the whole game, and this man here was one of them as well. Number 13, Joseph Koch, ran some great lines. Clovis, one of the standouts in the pack for the Badgers, carried hard all game. That one finished off by Emilio De Palm on that occasion. Good quick ball here from Mason Butner. Leads it off to Quinton. Again, it was the front row, Johnny Broker, for the Badgers, who really laid a fantastic platform. But this guy probably had to be the back of the game for me on the Badgers side of things. He has some sparkling footwork and knows his way to the try line, does Callum Jones. In tandem, the number 10, Carter Bell. Fantastic direction all over the field, Johnny. You mentioned it. And defense is only good with a number 10 that can direct it around the field. And this guy, particularly on that occasion, a lovely weighted kick, bounced up into the hands of Koch once more for the try. Just an all-round balanced effort. Go ahead, Johnny.
Keep looking at that's the final kick of the game. You saw it right there. Zhang putting in the hit. Two teams at battle for 80 minutes. Now best of friends as the game is over. That is going to be it for us on the Rugby Network, National Collegiate Rugby's Friday Night Rugby. Want to take a second to thank the people at the Wisconsin Rugby Sports Complex, as well as all the staff at NCR and everybody from Next Level Rugby, our camera crew, our technical crew, Mike Baker taking care of some of the technical stuff. Ryan, the man with the rugby plan, Ginty. For Thomas Wheels Grant, I am John Broker. See you next week. It's Friday Night Rugby.